Good afternoon, traders, and welcome to another edition of Awesome Calls Trading Live Recap webinar. I wanted to thank you so much for coming in. Well, what a day! Um, I just wow. Um, you know, Today was just as you know, I was very transparent, and I did overnight a set of stocks from Domino's Pizza to ABMD. And, it just comes from experience, traders, and they were all winners. I was very very happy, and it was so funny. When I sold ABMD this morning, I actually just put a limit order in on ABMD, and at 80, I had only had 85 shares, and I was trying to do 100, but I did 85 shares, and I put it. If you know anything about AMBD, I love that stock, and so what I did is I figured that we were going to have 2 days of the Dow being down 1,000. So I kind of knew that. I really felt very strong that that wasn't going to happen. So I was confident that these overnights were going to pay off. Even on Sunday, when I saw the Dow down another 300 because a lot of more, talking was going on negative wise. But I stayed positive. I felt very good. I knew that we were going to do it. Um, have a good day on trade. 45 added, 46 average, except good, Barney. So what I did is I turned around and I just put a limit order in the morning in pre-market, 85 shares at what was it? I think it was 195, and it took it at 195, and I made $459.85. I was so proud, and anyway, I made money on Hain, and TDD was my big one. I got $807 on that trade. So it was really good overnights. I was really proud of myself, and I hope that some of you that follow me on Twitter that are not yet in the room, this is what I do, and my job is to help you and to be transparent as possible and to help you become successful and make money. Um, and what I loved was I do think the market's going to actually trend lower now for maybe another day or this week. I think the talks today, we just needed to hear um, some positive news so we wouldn't have another 1,000 down day. You know what I mean? But I want you to keep a couple stocks on your radar for the next time this happens. I would like you to keep Domino's Pizza on your radar. I'm going to give you some tidbits. All right, Adobe, and I want you to see what you could have done this morning if you had taken these stocks. You see this? Adobe at 281, you could have opened up at 286. Okay. Uh, I like Adobe. I liked TDD. At TDD, you closed at 245 and you opened up at 252. All right. Crowd, you closed at 87 and you opened up at 91. So that was 4 points. And it just all adds up. It all adds up. It's so fun because I have my set of stocks, just like I'm sure some of you do, and of course the mods have theirs. I think the test is another one I like to do. This one closed at 246 and went to 250. Another one is you could do Facebook if you want. Facebook's another good, no, 177 to 181 was a bit of 4 point trade. Nvidia is another one you could do. Um, for me, I like TDD. I like Crowd. I like Boeing sometimes. Look at this one, Nvidia. I mean, closed at 160 and you opened up at 166. You see my point? So when you get a sell-off like that, now looking back, I wish I could have took Nvidia at 160 with 100 shares. I would have woke up to $500, And it's so much fun knowing it's like Christmas. It's like a bunch of gifts, and you're just opening them. And but hey, I really believe strongly we weren't gonna have another $1,000 down day, and for that, but ultimately, I was prepared because I was down a couple grand. I was prepared that if it did open up, I was going to add to my positions and I was going to hold. So maybe I not may not be as happy today if I was down at 38 to 4,000, but I was okay because I was comfortable with my position holding. And so, all right. So anyway, everything worked out nicely. Now today's calls, we did really good. I'll share with you a few, and then what we did. The first one was Cree. This was an all-day short, and what I've been doing in the room, I started today from the help of Steve B. He's a great trader we've had in our room, and he continues to just really do very, very well in here. On the notes, Steve talked to me over the weekend that he said to me, AJ, if you could just indicate top short ideas from now on, if you really see one and you really like it and you want to pound the table, if you could just really emphasize, I can focus my energy on that and do more size. I can have more conviction on the trade. I know your trades are all great, but it would really be great if you could have like a top short idea or a top long idea. I said, yeah, because he's a short seller in the room. So I've delivered Creed today on a downgrade. And I said the stock would actually come down to $43 today from 47. I wanted everyone to short the 46.80. 45.75 to start, give it room to 47 at the open, and the stock would fade down all the way to 43. And I made it the top short idea in the chat room. And I want you to see the stock. And Cree, you could see, I just wanted the gap to fill a little bit because you could see it kind of gapped down. So I figured, well, we could short here and then add on the pop and then look for an all-day pleader to 43. And as you can see, the stock hit $43.40. Just a wonderful trade. Great setup. Well done in the chat room. The next one that we did was Bristol Myers. Now, Bristol Myers is a slow fade. And the reason why I like Bristol Myers was simply the fact that they made a deal with, I believe, Celgene, and um, uh, they did some sort of uh, collaboration or whatever. But one thing you have to know is when Bristol Myers gets news like that, they tend to sell off their news, especially if the news is up thin. This is a real inclination that the stock is going to sell off all day when you're up thin. If this was such great news pre-market, this thing would have been already a million shares already traded, but it didn't. And so for me, this was a simple scale in short. I made it very clear at 49 and take it all the way down to 47. So it hit 47.70 so far. Another one that we did with success was Crowd. Crowd is a very nice favorite of mine. I enjoy trading Crowd. And with the market gapping up, gapping down, and all over the place, um, I knew that first of all that when you're gapping up 4 points on Crowd, just like Facebook and Nvidia and all the others, you gotta gap fill it some. And so I had Crowd coming down for a 3 point short at the opening bell. So I told everyone to short the stock around 91, give it room to 92 to add in case it popped, and come all the way down. And it stock came all the way down to $86. Bottom curl, go long, back up to $90. And that was Crowd. The next great one we did was obviously, I'm sure all of you know, was TDD. I love TDD. It's become a fan favorite. I used to like Shop until it got too expensive. And now Shop is kind of too expensive for me. It's in the 300s, 390s. And now it's kind of getting to the point where if I'm going to trade that, I like to keep my money at Boeing. So I don't trade Shop as much. And but I do like to trade TDD because it's still a lower price stock. It's comfortable for me. I can do 250 shares, comfortable. And normally I just trade 100, 150 shares max, and I really enjoy it. So this was a really nice stock. And so this one was actually an overnight. So it's a kind of a double trade. I wanted you to overnight the stock at 245, which you all know, and then it opened up at 252. I did tell everyone to short the stock back down to 245 and under, then bottom curl, and then go long. And I wrote that very clearly on that. Obviously, sell into the pop if you had overnighted it with me on TDD, and then look for the pop at the open, and then scale in short, and take it down to 248 and under, and the stock hit $243. The next one we did was Beyond. Now, this is really big news for Beyond. So for you short sellers, I'd be very cautious because Yum Brands wants to try out KFC. They own KFC, so they want to try this chicken. I mean, think about it. In KFC, you know, this is huge. If the market was up, man, I mean, seriously up, this thing should be a $200 stock. I mean, this is really, I mean, you know how many KFC outlets? Imagine when they get the go ahead, instead of taking the word try and saying, we're going to start adding to our menu. Oh, My goodness. Then Papa John's with not Papa John's, Popeyes and all of them. I mean, think about it. Think about it for a second. This is really big. So, but hey, you got to set up the trade first before you get all excited. How do you do that? Well, the stock was gapping up 10. It closed at 146 and was gapping up 10. So AJ came in and said, you know what? I would short at 156. Give it room to 158 and wait for this pullback to 150. When it hits 150, a ball curl and then slow move back to highs. It was a perfect layout trade for everyone in the chat room. Well done, well executed, very well explained in detail what we were going to do on it. Um, and unfortunately, TD never has shorts, shares to short. Otherwise, this would always be a top breeder for me. Anyway, there's the short right here at 156. I did want to give it a little bit of room to 158 in case it did pop on a short squeeze. I did feel the stock confidently would come down to $150. It came down all the way to $150.30. And bottom curl went all the way back up almost to 155. So a really nice 11-point trade. The other one that we did really nicely was a stock called Boeing. Boeing was just exceptional today, how we traded this. Joseph did very well on this. I believe also Joshua did really good on this. Boeing was just a really good setup for us today. Obviously, it would have been a great overnight. I didn't take it. I don't know why. I took Domino's Pizza instead, but 355, it gapped all the way up to 364. I mean, I should have just, I don't know what was wrong with me, what I was doing. Uh, but Boeing was just a really nice trade. I guess I felt that Boeing had already made significant moves, even when the market pulling, that I thought, well, I maybe popped 2 or 3 points, but it turned out to be a great winner on an overnight. It did hit 364 in pre-market. And so what I suggested to do was I wanted the traders to take the short at $366 or 365, I believe this morning was my call. I did believe very strongly the stock would short all the way down to 358 to 360 and then bounce back to 365. I told everyone go ahead and short the stock at 365, give it room to 367 to add at the open, and then take it down to 358, 360. And this was just really on the mark. There was no messing around with Boeing, and that's one of the things that we do very, very well here. Is just we lay out the trade, give specific pinpoints for the trade, how to trade it, where the trade's going to go, and why. And this was just for us a no-brainer. And so here's the 367 pop at the open, as I promised you. Scale in short. There's the 358, which I promised you, and then the bottom curl went back all the way up to $364. At this point now, it's down low. Hey, that's fine, but this was our trade. I mean, you were literally done in what 30 minutes of the market just on that one alone. So that was a good one. And then the last but not least was Madco. This was just a great setup for the chat room today. I really enjoyed giving this call out. One of the things that I do very well in Awesome Calls Trading over the years is I trade bios. I'm probably one of the top bio traders in the world when it comes to day trading and understand different phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, clinical, FDA approval, CRL letters. I think countless times you've watched these webinars. It's just like even on a CRL letter, how I respond to it, how I respond to phase 1 miss, phase 2 miss, phase 3, how I respond to phase 2s, um, how I know an ATM is coming. I think in general, I'm probably again one of the best bio traders in the world. I mean, with the knowledge I have, there's nothing I can't. There's no scope of something I don't understand. I think there was one that got me that to this day kind of blew me away was it was ALLK or something like that, where the stock went already 70, $80 a share from 25, 30 on a phase two. That one just kind of I had to sit back and kind of like, what is that one? you know. But this one was really simple to read. News came out, and I simply wanted to short the stock. And I believe the great Gianni was also shorting the stock in pre-market. But here was my call at Madco. Any pop it open towards 42 in pre-market or whatever, the stock would come down to $36 and under, bottom curl, and then slow move back to 40. And that was pretty much the call. It was a phase 3 clinical, which is really critical when on top line results. Um, so it's not like FDA approval, primary endpoint met. It's kind of a clinical. And I kind of understand the language when it comes to bios. So for me, this was a short. I wanted this to come down to $36, and as you can see, it actually filled the gap. Too much profit taking, and I told everyone when I saw the gap to fill, start going long. I mean, this was a no-brainer on the long side. I kept saying over and over and over and over and over, long, 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 long. No risk on the trade, maybe maybe 10, 20 cents, 40-cent risk, and the stock ended up going back to $40 a share. It was a really wonderful trade for the chat room. Well executed and well done. So, overall, it was a really great day to trade. I can't stress it enough. Being in the right chat room, right environment. And you know what? It was interesting too. I found that while other rooms were losing people, we actually gained quite a few subscribers over the weekend. It's just like I opened up the weekend and I went, wow, okay. And I noticed they came from different rooms, and I was really, I'm glad, I'm happy. I mean, that's what we're about. We're different. Um, we're all about education. We're all about trying to teach you, break your bad habits, help you into good ones. We want to be a part of your journey, and we want to help you every day we trade together. So I'm going to give you a free tidbit before I go. Take a look at Splunk. I like this down here, and remember now, it was 100 and what, $30 just a few days ago, and it hit as high as 140. So to me, this is kind of a buying opportunity for an overnight. So I'm going to keep an eye on it, but I do like it under 112 to purchase. So I may do it. If I do, I'll notify on Twitter, but keep an eye on that. The Great Dark Side does have this. He said a little bit more to the downside. I think he's thinking right here at this. He said 106 in the chat room earlier. Um, I'm thinking right here would be the bottom right there at 107. So it'd be interesting if it touches that and then just bounces straight up back up to 120. It'd be a really great trade. So it's a really great trade for me. So keep an eye on that. All right. So anyway, thank you for joining us on our great webinar. I hope I'm glad I got to talk to you for the last 15, 16 minutes. And if you want to listen to any of our webinars, I do recap everything that we do. I'm very transparent. I give every entry, exit, every reason why. I do the pre-market notes. One of the things that you won't find me doing anymore is trading after hours. I, you know, my 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 last thought on that is when I see somebody trading after hours, I think to myself, did you not trade enough during hours? Did you not make enough? I mean, don't if you run a chat room, why are you trading after hours? You know, for me, I like to make my $1,000 a day and I'd be done. I mean, I don't need to hit a home run and yes, and then and also I've learned too is I can't trade a stock unless I know what the conference call says and how the analysts are looking. I'd rather size in the next day and go after what the analysts are saying and what they're seeing, and then I can know, okay, this is going to be a sell-off. I can go on 250, 300 shares, get 8 points, 6 points, 3 points, 4 points, whatever. Or I know it's going to be a long pop at a gate, really blew out numbers, really great. I mean, so much more I can do, better setup for me than to try to guess. And then how many times have you seen a stock pop and then pull back its full pop and then some and then go way below where it closed because the conference language was perfect or the guidance came out after the earnings came out, Let me tell you something, in earnings, guidance is everything. So, and one last thing. Remember I told you Creed of 43? You want to see it? This is just what it's like to be in this great room. See the 43 coming? See, and this is what I tell traders. Like a lot of times traders will go, "Oh, this is a bottom curl. It's a long." No, it's not. It's not a long. This is just a short covering, consolidation, and then another sell-off down to 43 and under. That's all that is. It's just, yeah, Mr. Bruce says there's a rest stop. But so many traders out there, oh my gosh, it's long. Here's the bottom curl. Oh my gosh. No, it's not. You have to look at the big picture of the trade in the setup. Anyway, just so you know, if you had been with Ollie or been in this room and you got in with TradeNet at 350, remind you, I get nothing to do with TradeNet. I have nothing to do with them. I don't use their services. But he's got a promo, $350 gets you 14,000. Okay, well, what do? You come in the chat room and you take 250 shares, 300 shares, short, around 47 per my notes, and you wait. Now I want you to look at something. For $350, if you had taken 300 shares, it's 12,000 buying power, 13,000. 300 times 3.5 points is what? What is that? That's $1,000. You could have made $1,000 on 350 bucks. Do you see that? Being in the right chat room, what it could do for you? And it was written, scripted, wrote down, and the reason why, and the entry and the exits. $1,000 of 300 bucks. Can you imagine that? I can. That's why we run Awesome Calls Trading. That's what it's for. Take care. God bless.